So let's recap here. We've survived the first set of days within the autumn breeze in whatever way we could, while hopefully planning for the future, because that future brought with it the winds of winter and many foes like Deerclops, the one-eyed menace, Claws, not your ordinary and jolly old fellow, the MacTusk, and perhaps even your first encounter with blue hounds. Through all of this, hopefully many trinkets and valuables became yours, and that's great, as you likely need one or two of them once the rain began to pour. Winter was your first hurdle, but it's time to continue the race. Spring came and went, with frogs leaping at us from every which way until Sunday. Moose and goose teamed up to bring us down. Red hounds became a possibility, and once more, we did what we could to prepare for the next season. Spring might have been quite soggy, but it was nothing that we couldn't handle. But then summer rolled into town, and it brought the heat. It also saw even more chances to have everything you've built burned to the ground through even more frequent red hounds. The earth even quaked below, as Atline was not pleased with us being there. And we wore ridiculous clothes to keep cool, and we battled hard against the raging wildfires. Summer was a great challenge, but knowledge is power. So you made it through. Well done. The seasonal cycle complete. The second autumn beckons. But does it bring much change to your already familiar world? Well, not in the grand scheme of things, to be honest. Sure, now any type of hound is plausible come a hound wave, and your hunts may end in finding more terrifying creatures from now on, but those changes are nothing compared to what you've already been through. However, there is one big and fluffy topic we will discuss later, but really now's the time for just straight up suggestions moreover than actual guidance. Come the second autumn, the world is your oyster, and you can do as you please. But expanding your existing farms is always a stellar option. I'd imagine your natural resource farm helped a ton throughout your winter, spring, and summer days, so why not just go out and make it bigger and better? You certainly have the time and should absolutely have what you need to do so just take the opportunity to make your survival as easy as could be. Because if I was you, I would prioritize grass, twigs, and berries above all else. But again, it is entirely up to you. Or perhaps it's time to experiment with new ways to survive and farm much needed and useful materials. The great thing about Don't Starve is that everyone has their own way to play, build, and function within the world. And the second autumn is a wonderful time to experiment with just that. Here's an option on the table, and it's one that I honestly haven't really discussed before, but I do recommend that a honey farm be built eventually, as it can even serve as a butterfly farm as well. If you just use your noggin, try some new things, and learn from any potential mistakes so that you can be ready to expand your play style instead of just your basic resources. Because if you're not ready to try new things, you're going to miss out on some amazing chances to build and exploit a plethora of mobs within the constant, like pigmen here. Something I have always stood by is the notion of farming pigs, as the meat and butts dropped by them can go a heck of a long way for you in many aspects of survival. So, if you haven't begun to already, perhaps investing some time into constructing a pig farm is an option for you now that you have little to worry about. And of course, there is nothing stopping you from just getting fancy with it all. Farms are personal, just as much as they are useful, and you'd be surprised the lengths people can go to make them bigger, better, and far more accessible when it comes to the resources within the constant and the resources gained. So, why not bring some cave-dwelling souls to the surface only to slaughter them where they stand over and over and over again? The problem, though, is that you need the means to do it. And so I say the second autumn is a great time to either begin or continue your trek through the wilds, the ruins, and of course just the caves in general down under. You'll not only walk away with trinkets and baubles spilling out of your pockets and ears, but you'll find gears too. and those gears can help you craft what is needed to truly expand your base while keeping it safe along the way. And of course, they can be used for a great deal elsewhere as well. But while you're down here, why not navigate the labyrinth to greet and meet an old friend? There's no elements to worry about, no real time constraints, and no other funny seasonal business happening. Just you and the Ancient Guardian, mano-y-mano. That, or use your time to locate which big tentacle leads to the atrium. I mean, honestly, you'll have to make your way to the atrium gateway sooner or later, so why not figure out how to do so now? And while you're in the ruins, just do some ancient crafting while you're at it. But something I truly implore you to do through all of this and through anything you decide to do, think ahead. You just made it through all the seasons, so you now know what's coming. So, prepare for that. One thing I do is maybe expand your cave living situation a bit and spruce up your summer bases all around. Or, actually build one perhaps. The options and possibilities are honestly endless at this point. But whatever the case, I just want you to do what works for you. Again, I am just merely suggesting some options on the table. However, there is something coming that is not optional, but it is your single most important tool now that autumns are going to start rolling around. And that's Bearger, the fluffy giant of autumn. Now, I have a whole video on the guy already, so I'm just going to fire through some ways to use our new friend to our advantage. But I will mention his spawn alterations. Bearger used to arrive nearly as the second autumn began, so players really did need to be quite mindful of that. However, Clay did alter his initial spawn so that he now only arrives with but 2 to 3 days left in the entire season. They did this to allow for less exploitation, but honestly, it did nothing. You can still bring him to the Hound Mound set piece to utterly decimate all who live there while walking away with a crap ton of gold, flint, rocks, niter, and of course, hound loot. Remember though, you'll likely need to re-aggro him as Bearger prefers munchin' over fighting. You can bring him to the Tall Bird Fortress to accomplish the exact same thing, while also gaining the opportunity to build your own Tall Bird Fortress farms, one of my favorite farms in the entire game. So thanks, Bearger, you will always be my fluffy buddy. But let us not forget the retrap, as Bearger is an absolute beast when it comes to clearing this thing. Yes, your time with him is limited, so you will have to pick and choose which one you prefer, but now you know some of your advanced options that are on the table. But again, nothing to stop you from returning to the familiar. Bearger is the best lumberjack in the game, so use him and your forest wisely. Just kinda watch out for them pesky tree guardians. But if none of that kills him, you can. Bearger sits at 6,000 health and packs a hell of a punch, but the kiting pattern is nothing you can't handle at this point. The things to be aware of though are his smash attack that comes after 3 normal swings from the beast, and the fact that if you do get hit, you will be disarmed. So please be aware of that. He will swing immediately after smashing, so please do not go gun-ho right away. Bait out that swing first, then go for your hits. Occasionally, he will drop fur tufts that can be combined into thick fur. However, you'll need 90 of the suckers, but one craft does equal 3 thick furs, which is more than enough to make some useful items along the way. Like the insulated pack, for instance. A backpack under the survival tab that serves as a portable icebox. However, it will slow the spoiling of food, but it will not prevent ice from melting. Nor can it cool a thermal stone, sadly. It is useful, but not worth it in the long run, in my opinion. What is worth it, though, is the Hibernation Vest. An item that has 240 insulation, comes with a sanity boost of 4.4 per minute, reduces the hunger lost by 25% when worn, and can be coupled with any other winter gear to turn the season's cold into a laughing stock. This is what you should use your first come the second autumn. Oh, and of course, you can always just celebrate blood spilt with some statues, cause that is always a lovely option. But there you have it, everyone. Our final seasonal guide for Don't Starve Together. You've made it through, everyone. Hopefully you've learned a lot along the way, too, and are now ready to do it all over again. But for now, take care, folks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.